My name is Kyle Fitzgerald, and I'm going to tell you the stories of four engines when they were in their prime until the day of their horrible demise. Cecilia, an 060 C-class tender engine. She was a hard worker, taking the slow goods services to wherever they were needed, and on schedule too. She was called Cecilia because it was a combination of Cecil and Amelia, the name of her driver and his wife, and also because it started with a C, just like the name of her class. However, the newer, larger, and faster engines in her shed, who were 440s, looked down upon her and considered her work to be unglamorous and even vulgar. She didn't mind the goods trains at all. However, she would occasionally suggest that the fast passenger engines could pull her slow goods trains from time to time, but for some reason they never did. Basildon, an 062 Class 69 tank engine. He was a good sort. He did all sorts of work in his time. He usually took goods, but he also did shunting, banking, double heading, and taking local trains. However, he did like going at high speeds, even though he was mainly a slow goods engine. As such, he always wanted to take fast goods services, which resulted to him starting to offer to swap jobs just so he could get the jobs he wanted. But then, one day, he disappeared. Buck and Jumper, an 060 classed J69 and C72 class tank engines. They both worked together at a large terminus station in a big city. They usually pulled commuter trains bringing workers to different stations in the city and its outskirts. They also brought coaches and trucks for the other engines during their free time. Buck was the more experienced engine and acted as a mentor towards Jumper. He actually taught Jumper all there was to know about pulling and shunting trains, but was also worried about being seen as a boring old fuddy-duddy and acted as a good friend to Jumper as well as a mentor. The two engines became virtually inseparable from one another. Neither engine wanted to leave the other, so neither of them were relocated and both remained in the big city even as the newer engines began to replace the other engines around them. So, what happened to them after that, you may ask? Cecilia and the other engines in her shed were replaced by new boxy looking engines that did their work better than they ever could. Basildon had ran away to get away from the cutter's torch. He hid in an abandoned siding, but had run out of coal and stayed there for 4 years until they found him, all rusted and missing parts. As the modernization era began, the day came where Jumper was withdrawn from service. Buck was heartbroken and demanded that if the scrap man was going to take Jumper, then they'd have to take him as well. Then they were all taken to the scrapyard, where engines who had worked for many years were sent to their final destination. Cecilia was put on an old dam siding at the far end of the yard. Basilton was next to her. Jumper was put next to him, with Buck at the back of him. They stayed there for a very long time. Buck and Jumper were later taken to pieces slowly over time. Basildon and Cecilia were terrified and horrified. So you might be wondering, how do I know all of this? Well, I was the one who scrapped them. I scrapped Basildon and Cecilia. I remember the day when I first came in. I didn't want to do it. I was very interested in steam locomotives, and I did not like what was happening to them. I remember the horrified look on their faces when they saw me. I thought of a way how could I avoid doing it, but I had to. And I still feel the guilt to this day.